we identify as grannies.
Yeah.
In this video, we want to talk to you about what it feels like to be young girls with old values in a modern world. That's what we want to talk to you about today. I would say that we have always had old-fashioned values. We get comments about that on the channel. Sometimes people say we're old souls, and I would say that that's true, and we thought this would be a very interesting kind of video topic because being as young as we are, we're 26, sometimes we feel a little bit lost, like maybe we should have been born in a different time. And I would say maybe looking back that we were even old-fashioned kind of as children. Mama would say, you know, that we wanted to kind of dress different and we wanted to dress kind of in older styles, and we used to clog instead of doing any kind of modern dancing, and we used to do clogging, and we enjoyed that. I've always been into like a lot of the herbal stuff, like medicinal remedies and gardening and crocheting, and I even took a sewing and a knitting class one time. Just things like that of that nature. But I also want to say before we go any further in this video, this is not to say that if you prefer things that are new and modern that that's in any way bad. It's nothing like that. We just want to give our take on what it feels like to be young in this day and age but have old kind of values and like old things.
I hope you didn't leave your car window down. It's raining.
Yes, I can definitely see that it's raining.
I would say that I spent a lot of time when I was young, high school, like early teens, and I spent a lot of time upset and stressed and angry and anxious and just wondering all the time why I was like, why do I not have friends? Like, all these other kids are going and doing stuff, and they all got together on the weekends, and they all posted this on social media, and they are always together doing all these things. And I really let it get at me, and it hurt me for years. And when I got to college, the same old stuff haunted me, and it hurt me for years. And I would actually spend time agonizing and crying over this, feeling like an outcast and feeling put out and feeling like nobody likes me. And it wasn't until I was an adult to be like, that's why I didn't have any friends, because I wasn't ever willing to change myself, and I wasn't ever willing to bend this strict code of morals and values that I live by. And I'm not saying everybody that I was around was just a bad person or a person who didn't have morals and values. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I literally never fit in. And so if I was being honest, I would say sometimes it hurt, frankly. It kind of stung, you know, it kind of hurt. But at the same time, I would always go back to the same place. Well, I'm not willing to change. Well, I can't change who I am because I don't want to, because this is just what I am. And if I can't find people that align with this, well, then I'll just have to be friendless. And now as an adult, I'm like, we had this conversation sometimes and it's funny. I'm like, who has time for friends anyway? I'm like, I don't have time to go do stuff on the weekend. I am that old granny lady. I'm like, I don't want to go do stuff on the weekend now. I'm like, I'm not getting out. I'm not going hiking. I'm not gonna go a fun girls weekend. No, a girls weekend to me is like me, Corey, and Olive on the couch eating popcorn. That's the girls weekend now. So I do think that that trend of just not fitting in and kind of being different and like, what's the give, man? Why do we like all this old stuff and everybody else laughs at us? That's been my whole life. Like, it wasn't just, oh, college. No, it's always been.
I would say that's totally accurate. And then to follow up on what you're saying, I would say we identify as grannies.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how we identify. And it's funny, we had a little cousin years ago when our grandpa was still alive. Our grandparents were keeping that cousin, and she was much younger than us. I mean, there's probably a 20-year difference.
Probably over 20 years.
She was much younger, kind of from another different part of the family. And she called us the two old grannies. She asked our grandparents, where's the two old grannies?
Where's the two old granny ladies, she said.
And she might have thought we were really that old, but I would say all of that is accurate, and I would say that I had a lot of the feelings like you did at the time, wishing maybe in high school and college that we were fitting in more, but we just kind of did our own thing. And all these things that we were into really never made us popular by any means. But I think a lot of people, especially in college, and maybe high school as well, but especially in college, kind of, go to college, get married, go off, and then maybe kind of return. Then they get married and they think, well, maybe I want to learn how to do a garden. Maybe I want to learn some of these kind of, home prepping, homestead.
They come back to that raising, yeah.
Like those kind of skills. But for the most part, I would just say, like, we've never left that. And that's just something that's important to us. But I want to talk about some of the actual values when we think about kind of older fashioned values that are important to us and what that feels like living in a modern world. Now, as we share these values, you have to keep in mind, for one, these are not the only good values that ever exist. These are just values that are important to us. This is not all of them. We wouldn't have time to make a huge list. But it's also been so largely shaped by not only growing up in a Christian home, but growing up in the mountains here in Appalachia. And it would be different for everyone where they grow up, and that is a super cool thing. I mean, everyone is shaped by kind of their own culture, and I think that is a really neat thing. But we'll share some values kind of that are important to us, and of course the first one being faith. The biggest thing that's most important to us in life is our faith in God.
That's right. I would say one of the biggest things for me is my word. If I give somebody my word, it's like I've signed it in blood. It's really serious to me. If somebody knows they can count on me because I told them I was going to be there, because I promised I would do it. Just people knowing that they could pick the phone up and call me and rely on me to drop what I'm doing and come help them. Somebody's word and believing in somebody and trusting, and not just thinking, well, if I really, really needed them. No, these people know every time I need her, and I know with these people every time I need them. It's that, like, what my word is really important to me. It's my vow to other people. And also the other way to look at that, my word is what words do I use? I don't like to be mean. I don't like to talk, I try my best to not talk like a sailor on a ship. How I present myself to other people is really important to me, because I may be the only kindness they get. I may be the only Bible they ever read by me talking about God. Maybe the only thing they ever hear about it. And it's just that pressure of, like, how I conduct myself and how other people see that is just really serious and important to me. And I never felt like anybody else got that or understood that. When I was in school, people would just say whatever, and they just kind of act like whatever. But there's literally like this big, strict, long list of things that I will say and will not say, do, will not do. And everything in my life is guided by this big, long thing. And it's always been like that. And I've never really, I've not met a whole lot of other people like that. Now, that's not to say they're not out there.
No.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's part of why I think that's the old soul thing, is that sincerity, taking things serious like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
My generation just seems that all they do is scroll TikTok and act like idiots. I mean, it's not all of them, but some of them.
Not all of them. And that's why we thought it'd be interesting to make this video kind of from our perspective since we're young. Thinking about the talking, like you just said, one thing that is a big, should I say, no for me is, like, vulgar talking. I can't tell you the times that I've been in the company of, like, a guy,
a crowd,
somewhere, or a crowd, and have someone, like, drop the F-bomb. I just was raised, like, around, it's women and children. Like, you do not talk ugly around women and children. You don't act ugly around women and children. And I've been in just around the company of some man and just drop the F word like it's nothing when I'm standing right there. And that just absolutely just grates my nerves to the core, because I'm thinking, like, how could you do that? Why are you saying that? I mean, we don't curse, not that we're perfect, not that we've never said any kind of curse word, but I think that is a big problem, and now people just throw those words out everywhere. You can be watching anything, and then the F word just slips in, and
it's just completely uncalled for.
Completely uncalled for. And let me say this about this here on YouTube, and I hope that I don't offend anyone. But when you film a video, like we're filming right now, this is not a live video. I have to edit this. So I have to go back and watch everything I've done and edit it. So if I were to say a bad word, especially the F word being one of the worst ones you can say, then have to watch myself saying it again, then I'm intentionally leaving it in a video, which I think is not
on purpose.
On purpose.
And real quick before anybody says, I can't believe you two are supposed to be so strong and you're so weak because you're so bothered by words. It's not that the actual word itself bothers me.
It's the intent behind it.
It's the intent, and it's the fact that you didn't sit around and think, I wonder who I'm around, and maybe I should conduct myself in a way that's godly to the best of my ability, and maybe I should act like a somebody and not just sit around tossing these words around, acting like a fool. It's that thought that people put extra thought and effort into their character as a person.
Right, and that goes back to the value, which is extremely, values, which is important to us. Another few of them that we'll share is kindness. Now, this sounds really obvious, and it is for the most part. But we also mean kindness by, if you see someone's hands are full, open the door for them, no matter where you're at. If you see someone drop something, pick it up for them. When our mom worked at the school that we went to at the time, we went to an early college, and she worked at the college we were in dual enrollment high school. She said, I can't count for you the times that I would walk through with my hands full, and there'd be plenty of youngins standing around and no one would open the door. And it's not that those youngins are bad, they just haven't been taught to do that.
But it kills me. I'm like,
yeah,
what do you do when
you see someone open the door? Simple stuff like that. Of course, family. Family is such a huge part of our life. I mean, we would do anything for family. And these days, unfortunately, I mean, and it's not like it's people's fault. I mean, if you're born into a family that has issues and broken homes and things like that, that is absolutely not your fault. But family is just crucially important to us. Chivalry. It's hard for me to say that word, but Austin, in the rain, will open my car door. I mean, no matter what, he's always, if I'm carrying something heavy, even if he's busy, he'll say, no, let me carry the laundry basket downstairs. Just that intent that is behind it, and that is really what we're trying to hit at in this video, is the intent behind the values and the morals. It's important to us.
A lot of women are offended by chivalry. A lot of people are offended by chivalry.
But not us.
But not me. Like I said, it's that actions speak louder than words, and your actions kind of show your character, show who you are as a person. And if I see people conducting themselves in a way that is courteous and respectable, then I understand that they care about their character, they care about their character traits, and they're working on their character, and they're thinking about who they are as a person, and that is very upstanding. That is something that I value greatly in other people, and that is probably why I don't have many friends, because I won't surround myself with just anybody. And that's not because Katie is so picky and snooty and thinks she's better than everybody. I want to be in the company of people who also have respect for their character and want to build their character and work on their character, and not just live in this surface level. I'll just do whatever I want, whenever I want, and I don't care who it hurts. And that thinking about others before you think about yourself, and that chivalry, that is very old-timey. That is very Appalachian. That's very something that you just don't see anymore. It's just almost disappeared in this fast throw it away, one use and done type of culture that we live in. There's none of this long-lasting value in people, not just products, of course. Everything breaks and falls apart, but actual value in people, in the way they conduct themselves, not only when no one's watching, when they're by themselves, because God's always watching, or in a crowd or with strangers. I want to make a good impression. I want people, how I thought about my grandpa, I'm like, we loved him so much, and everybody talks still to this day. Well, I want people to see me like that. And the only way they're going to see me like that is if I lead by example, by living in a wholesome and decent way that builds my character, instead of destroying my character by acting like a moron.
And that's how all this makes us feel, kind of having these old-fashioned values and living in a modern world. Now, again, we're trying to do this tastefully, so we're not calling anyone out. We're not saying if you don't have the exact same values as us that you're a bad person, anything like that, so keep that in mind. But it's just our experience, and sometimes it feels like living on another planet. And here's the thing, where we live, we live in the mountains of Western North Carolina. We were born and raised here, still live here, obviously. But we're making this video because we're not just trying to say that, the Bible Belt or the South or, Appalachia top to bottom is this whole secluded place away from the world that's better than anywhere else. That's not what we're saying. I mean, we're saying that even within our own county, within our own experiences in high school and in college and even past jobs and things, that sometimes you just feel like you're living on a completely different planet. Yep. Because things are just different now. There's not a focus in life so much on family and God and living close to the land and hard work. I mean, all these other values that we've mentioned, and of course, even more than that. And it can be somewhat disheartening. It can feel very frustrated, sometimes when you just feel like you don't fit in. That bothered me more when I was younger, not so much now. And then also makes me sometimes feel bad for those people if they weren't taught good manners. Those kids probably didn't even know to pay attention to open the door, for mom that had her hands full or anything like that. If kids are not taught that, it's not their fault.
And it is having compassion and understanding and not,
Sure.
dropping a 10-pound hammer on somebody's head for it. You know, it's just me noticing that I wish there was more of this, and it's, you know, it's sad that there's not.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you said too is it's not even just the people, but even in the items that we use on a daily basis, and clothes and things we use in the kitchen and appliances, and everything is just made to be thrown away. Nothing is really made to last like it used to be. Of course, if you're on the channel, been on the channel, you know we love vintage clothes. We've got a video we'll leave in the description if you haven't seen that. We love old stuff, old appliances. I love my washer and dryer from the 80s, which is really not all that old, but we just love old stuff like that. However, that seems all really gloomy. We've got a note of hope here, and again, we're just sharing our feelings. But at the recent cookbook signings that we've been to, at every single one we've been to, there have been young people, particularly young girls, boys too, but mostly young girls, and that has been so refreshing. That has been amazing to see that there's other girls our age, and a lot of them even younger, that are into this stuff that we're in. And that makes me really happy to see. And that's a large part of why we wanted to make this video. For those girls and for anyone else, just, you're not alone in this modern world that doesn't necessarily always have the right values. It's not just you that feels like that. And it's okay to not necessarily always fit in. At the end of the day, if you can stick to your values, stick to your faith, that's way more important than it is to fit in. And we did not set out on this channel to be role models. Did I say that right? Role models at all. And I'm not even saying that we are now. I don't think of myself as being necessarily a role model. But we've had a lot of people tell us that we are. And that is absolutely humbling and inspiring. And we feel honored that we have this channel and that God has blessed us. Because I think society, whether you're young or you're old, society just kind of tells you, here's how you have to be. And you don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that. And what I would say in closing is be true to yourself first. Always be true to yourself. And that will mean more to you. Now be careful over here. Getting teary. Be super careful.
Being true to yourself also, though, including your faith.
Yes, being true to who you are and what you believe. And no matter if that is popular, no matter if you have friends, none of that stuff matters. What's going to matter is your relationship with God and who you're going to stand in front of and give an account of who you were. And if you lead your life in a way that is wholesome, that is decent, that is godly, that is full of value, that is the right thing. And even if it's hard, even if you're chastised, even if you're made fun of, if you can do that, you have not only done the right thing, but you will be rewarded. You will have value and blessings in your life for doing that.
Absolutely.
And in the Bible, it does talk about, I think that's what it means when it says, lay up your treasures in heaven, where moth and rust does not corrupt. I think what that means is having a heavenly mind, toward heaven sort of mindset about everything, and work on your character. And every time you do a little good thing to help somebody, doesn't matter that it's acknowledged or not, you know you did it, and that's working on your character. That's adding one little more, one little gold star to your bag, and you can feel good about what you've done. Because on the other side of it, when you get to be in your 20s or in the middle of your 20s, it's not going to matter about high school and college. All that's going to go away, and none of that's going to matter. And you can see that. And what you're left with is who you are as a person. You're not left with the parties I went to and the friends I had and the homecoming. You're left with who you are as a person. So work on that and be proud of that, and never, ever compromise your morals and your values and your belief in God. And if you can do that, then you will live a happy life.
Amen.
Amen.
So that's how we feel as mountain girls living in a modern world. You got to comment below and let us know what you think. Let us know how you feel. I know we have a lot of viewers here on the channel who have kind of some of the same old-fashioned values as we do. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for watching. God bless you. I guess we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.